Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be showing us how to draft and sew this slip dress with cowl neck. If this is something you're interested in learning, stick with me to the end of the video. I used 2 yards of fabric to achieve this for a size 12. You would need more or less fabric depending on the size you're sewing for. So the first thing I'm going to do is to start drafting a basic bodice. I'll apply my vertical measurement on the paper. That's my bust length, waist length, hip length, and the full length of the dress. And then I'll mark it and draw a line across. Next, I'll mark the neckline. So the neckline is 3 inches by 3 inches. This is for the front pattern. Then I would use a pattern master to draw the neck curve. Next, I'll apply the shoulder measurement divided by 2, and then from the shoulder point, I'll drop down by 1 inch. From that 1 inch drop, I'll apply my chest line, which is round bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. For my measurement, mine is 7 3/4. Plus the 1 inch I drop down by, that's 8 3/4. So I'll just mark a line across at that point. Next, I'll connect the neck curve to the 1 inch drop with a straight line, and then I'll connect that 1 inch drop to the chest line with a straight line. The next thing I'm going to do is divide that line by 2 and mark the midpoint, and then at the midpoint I'll go in by 1/2 inch and then connect that 1/2 inch point to the 1 inch shoulder drop. At the chest line, I would apply my round bust measurement divided by 4. I'll be adding 1 inch for ease to my body circumference. So my round bust measurement is 37, but adding 1 inch ease is 38. So that measurement divided by 4 is 9.5. So I'll mark that on the chest line and on the bust line. Next, I'll complete my armhole curve by connecting the line to the round bust measurement with the curve. I'll go on to apply my body circumference measurement. So I'll be adding 1 inch ease to my measurement, and this is the result I have. So my measurement plus 1 divided by 4 for my waist, my hip, and the bust measurement. I'll be applying my measurements without any allowance, so the allowance will be added when I'm transferring the fabric. And then at the hem, I want it to flare out a bit at the full length, so I'm going to be adding 2 inches to my hip measurement. So I marked 10.5 at the hip, but because I want it to flare out a bit, I don't want it to be straight at the full length. I'm going to be making it at the hem 12.5. Now that I've marked all my horizontal measurements, I'll just go ahead and connect the marks to get my body curve. And that's it for the front pattern. Now I'm going to go on to draft the back pattern. So my back pattern doesn't have zip allowance at the back or at the side, so I'm not going to be making any allowance for the zip. The only difference between my back and front pattern is the neckline is lower, but it's the same measurement I'll be using for the round bust, round waist, round hip, and the hem, like the full length. And I'll just go ahead and draft everything. I'm replicating the same thing I've done for the front pattern. You may ask, why are we drafting 2 patterns if they are basically the same thing? The reason I'm drafting 2 patterns is because I'm going to be slashing and spreading the front pattern. So you can go ahead and use the front pattern to cut the back pattern and then slash and spread after you've done that. Or you can do it the same way I'm doing, just draft 2 separate patterns and then slash and spread your front pattern. So I'll just draft my back pattern now. So I've drafted my back pattern. Like I said, both patterns are the same besides the neckline. So the neckline for the back pattern is not as deep as the neckline for the front pattern, but it doesn't matter really because this is a strap dress, so we're not going to be using the neckline for anything. We'll cut off that part of the pattern. Okay, so next I'll decide how deep I want the neckline to be. So I want mine 4.5 inches deep, so I'll mark that. So this measurement is dependent on how deep you want it. I'm comfortable with 1.5, so I'll just mark that and then mark it across from the front to the back. Next, I'm going to be applying my across chest measurement to that measurement that I have marked. So across chest measurement is taken from one armpit to the other across the chest. My across chest measurement is 12 inches, so I'll divide that by 2 and I have 6. So I'll mark that on my neck depth on the front and on the back. And then I'll use my pattern master to draw a new armhole curve from that mark up to the bust measurement. Next, I'll draw my strap from the neck depth to the shoulder to know how much strap I'm going to need for this dress. So I'm going to have really thin straps, so I'm just drawing 1/2 inch strap from the new armhole curve. Mind you, this is not the strap we'll be using for the dress, because the strap we'll be using is going to be cut on bias and this is straight, so it's just a guide to know how much strap that will be needed for the dress, so how much we've taken off. So my strap measurement is 3.5 inches, so plus the front and the back, that's 7 inches. I'll just take a mental note of that and then complete my neck depth measurements for the front and the back. So I'll go ahead and cut out the front and back pattern. Next, I'll start working on the cowl neck part of this pattern, and to achieve that, I will be slashing the bust point line and spreading. So I'll just take my scissors and cut it open, leaving 1/4 inch attached. And then I'm going to spread it. When you're spreading yours, ensure you don't spread it too much, so it shouldn't go above 4 inches unless if you want the neckline to be really low. So the wider you spread it, the lower the neckline is going to be. For mine, I'm going to be spreading it by 3.5 inches. This is the result I get spreading it by 3.5. I've put a fresh pattern paper under my pattern, and this is where I'll be spreading the front pattern. After I spread it to my desired measurement, I'll use a tape to tape it down. Next, I'm going to take a ruler and connect a straight line from the bottom part all the way to the top. And then I'm going to take my ruler and connect a diagonal line from the shoulder to the straight line I drew initially. And then afterwards, I'll outline my armhole. Next, I'll cut out the new top of the front pattern and then transfer to fabric. So this is going to be cut on bias. So basically that means instead of the normal way we would fold fabric, we'll be folding it diagonally the way you see me do. So I'm just folding it diagonally and then I'll place the pattern on it. So you have to fold it and then ensure that you find where it can accommodate your pattern before you start cutting. I'll add 1/2 inch allowance to the top and to the armhole, and then to the sides I'll add 1 inch allowance, and then to the full length, the bottom, I'll add 1 inch allowance as well. I'll go ahead and cut it out and do the same thing for the front pattern. The next thing I'm going to do is to cut out the facing for the front and the back. The facing is what I'll be using to turn the neck and the armhole. So it should be wide enough to cover both the neck and the armhole. So I'll get a piece of fabric that is big enough to accommodate the top area. So my facing is going to go 1 inch lower than the armhole point, so the chest line. So I've cut out the strap and it's 1 inch by 8 inches for both straps. Remember, I measured 3.5 inches on the pattern paper for the strap, plus 1/2 inch sewing allowance on both sides. So 3.5 on the front, 3.5 on the back, 1/2 inch joining allowance for both sides, that's 1 inch. So that's 8 inches for the strap. And then I've also cut out the facing for the back and also for the front. I've gone ahead and sewn my strap. So I sewed it as one long piece because I'll be splitting it when I'm sewing. And then I've also hemmed the edge of the facing for both the front and the back. Next, I'll take the facing for the back and the back piece and then the straps. So I'll place the straps between the facing and the back piece. So I'll place it 1/2 inch to the end of the top. The 1/2 inch would be the sewing allowance for the armhole. So I'll just place both straps between the facing and the main fabric. And then I'll take it to the sewing machine and sew it together. So I'll sew the top, I'll sew both armholes together, and then I'll give it a good press and then show you what it looks like. This is the back piece sewn and pressed. So the next thing I'm going to do is to connect the back and the front with the strap. I'll place the back on the front piece, right face to right face. Then I'll connect the strap to the front piece, just as I did for the back piece. Next, I'll place the front facing on the front piece such that the strap is between the facing and the front piece. I hope this video has been detailed enough and easy to follow. If you have any questions, just drop in the comment section and I'll be happy to provide clarity on any detail you require. If you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post a new video. I'll pin it down and take it to the sewing machine and sew around the top and around the armhole. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. After I've joined the front and the back together with the straps, the next thing I'm going to do is to join them at the sides with the 1 inch allowance I left initially. I'll place the armholes together, so facing to facing and main fabric to main fabric, and then I'll go and sew it from the facing all the way to the bottom. So the facing is going to be sewn together and the main fabric is going to be sewn together. I've done that and given it a good press, so I ironed it opened, and then finally I'll hem the end of the dress. Thank you all for watching and I hope to see you in my next video.